Yes, you are. You are audible.
Okay.
Mataji, when you write Devi Dasi, do you have to write small DDs or capital DDs?
Any can do.
Anything is okay. Okay.
Yeah, but well, you see, your name is Dasi. Rasa Sundari Devi Dasi, it means you are Dasi of Rasa Sundari Devi.
Yes, yes.
So, proper should be, I think the first D should be big D because it's the name of your mistress
Okay.
or rather your master. Then the other one is your name, it can be small d, but no big deal. Sanskrit does not have these considerations of capital and small. Like
Oh,
Krishna does not stop being Krishna if we write K, a small k. But the Christian God, if you write God with a small g,
it's not allowed.
it's not allowed. But Krishna doesn't mind.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we can start.
Yes, we can start.
So thank you very much for joining in today and giving your precious time. We are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are on Canto 3, Chapter 8. Chapter 8 is manifestation of Brahma from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And the text for today is text 8. And it's a short one, but we can start with the Mangalacharan. Would anybody like to do the Mangalacharan? Okay, maybe I can do the Mangalacharan. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुमिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवम् श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखावितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपीश गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी ऋषभानु सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Thank you, Mataji, for joining in and giving your precious time. I hand over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. I just wanted to clarify, is it text 8 and 9 or 10 and 11? Okay. So it's text 10. So I'm going to recite once, and then a devotee from the audience can repeat, can chant after me. Idukrutam Vishwamidam Tadasir Yanidaya Miritadrinyamilayat Ahindratalte Dishayanaeka Kritakshana Svatmarato Nirihaham. I repeat one more time, and then one devotee can volunteer and recite. Idukrutam Vishwam Idam Tadasid Yanidryamilitadrinyamilaya Ahindratalpe Dishayanaeka Kritakshana Svatma Ratonrihaham.
Hare Krishna.
I
Hare Krishna. Sorry, my electricity went off, but I'm back now. Yes,
okay.
I apologize. We did 8 and 9 yesterday, and today is 10 and 11.
Okay, thank you. We are already reading 10. We are waiting for one of the devotees to volunteer to recite the shloka. I think Kishwari Radha was ready.
Yes, I can try. Uda Plutam Visham Idam Tadasi Yanidrayami Litadrin Nyamilayat Ahindra Talpedrisayana Eka Kritakshana Maratau Niriha.
Thank you very much, Kishwari. So I am going to read the translation and purport. And then for text 11, I will also read the text, and then one devotee can read the translation and the purport. So, translation and purport to text 10 by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. At that time, when the three worlds were submerged in water, Garbhodaksha Vishnu was alone, lying on his bedstead. The great snake Ananta, and although he appeared to be in slumber in his own internal potency, free from the action of the external energy, his eyes were not completely closed. Purport: The Lord is eternally enjoying transcendental bliss by his internal potency, whereas the external potency is suspended during the time of the dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. Okay, I recite the shloka to text 11, and then one devotee will read the translation and the purport. Sunta sharirer pitabhuta sukshma karatmikam shaktimi udirayanaha uvasa tasmin sarire padesve yata naro dharu nirudavidya. One devotee can now read the translation and purport of text 11.
Just
Hare
like
Krishna.
this. Yeah, carry
Yes.
on. Carry on.
Go on, Mataji. Kindly. Okay. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Just like the strength of fire within fuel wood, the Lord remained within water. Just a minute. Within the water of dissolution, submerging all the living entities in their subtle bodies. He lay in the self-invigorated energy called Kala, purport. After the three worlds, the upper, the lower, and the middle planetary systems merged into the water of dissolution, the living entities of all the three worlds remained in their subtle bodies with the dint of the energy called Kala. In this dissolution, the gross bodies became unmanifest, but the subtle bodies existed. Just like water of the material creation. Thus, the material energy was not completely wound up, as is the case in the full dissolution of the material world. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Murari Gopal. So before we begin the class, I'll just recite a few mantras in glorification of the Bhagavatam, and then we will start. Madeka bandhu matsangi, madguru manmahadana, manishtaraka madbhagya, madanandana mostute. Asadu sarutarain, atine chochata kara, hanamunchakara chimam, premnari kantayosura. First of all, I would like to offer my respectful obeisances and to the devotees feet of my spiritual master, and to his spiritual master, and to Srila Prabhupada and all the acharyas in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, and beg their mercy that I can be a useful instrument in their service. I would also like to offer my respectful obeisances and to all of you devotees, Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, assembled in today's Srimad Bhagavatam class, and beg your mercy so that we can speak and discuss something of value to our progress in Krishna consciousness. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha, kripasindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. So today we are discussing text 10 and text 11 of the 8th chapter, Manifestation of Brahma from Vishnu, which Vidura Muni is being explained to by his guru, Maitreya Muni. Previously, to put our discussion in context, we heard Maitreya Muni describe his parampara, or where he got this knowledge from. That this knowledge was spoken initially by Sankarshan, who is none other than the first expansion of Krishna, Balaram. And then from Sankarshan to Sanat Kumara, and then from Sanat Kumara to Sankyayan Muni. And Sankyayan Muni, he spoke to Parasar Muni, his guru. And his guru then spoke to him, to Maitreya Muni. Of course, Sankyayan Muni also spoke to Brihaspati, and Brihaspati spoke the knowledge to Uddhava, but he heard it from Parasar Muni. And in that he glorifies the Bhagavatam and says that he heard this Bhagavatam, the foremost of the Puranas. And therefore he is going to describe it as he had heard it from his guru. And then in today's verse, he starts with how Garbhodaksha Vishnu, all the living entities enter into his body at the time of dissolution. We have discussed creation in the previous chapters, very technical details about creation. And these verses are somehow describing annihilation, because the world we live in is temporary. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that the world is Dukkarayam, it is full of miseries. And it is ashashvatam, it is temporary. You cannot live here forever in the material world. And to try and counter this, people have tried all types of means. So they have tried even scientific means, and they have tried to find an elixir, some what is called, to take some pill to take that will give them immortality, but it cannot happen. When death comes, your time is over and you go. That's just in this material body. But forget this material body, the world in which we live itself, and the situations that happen here themselves, they are not permanent. There is no permanence in this material world, because we are going to see further, as Maitreya Muni describes to Arjuna, the basis on which this material world has been created. Because it is a prison house. A prison house in any government in the material world is meant for two purposes. Does anyone know those purposes? Daktari, do you want to try? Mugo Prabhu, sorry, Murari
Yes.
Prabhu.
Yes. The purpose of creation of this material world is
No, you
one
didn't
of
get my question. What's the purpose of a prison house in any government?
correct the fallen entities.
Correction, rectification, and another purpose?
Penance.
Punishment. Thank you. So a prison is meant to punish the wrongdoers, and it is also meant to rectify them, not just punish them. It's also meant to rectify them. So when we are here in this material world, we have free will, and we misuse our free will. We also had free will in the spiritual world, and we misused it to come to this material world. Therefore, we are punished, and we are also rectified. And so it's meant for those two purposes. It's not meant that it's a permanent feature that the government has, that all the citizens are supposed to go there and experience that. No, that's not the purpose of a prison house. Similarly, the same way our material world, in which has been created, as Maitreya has been explaining, from manifestation of the subtle elements to the creation of Mahavishnu, and him creating from his body coming all the universes. And now we are at the stage of where in every universe there is Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. And at the time of annihilation, the material world itself, the universe, it goes into the body of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, and it lays there. And at that time, what is Krishna usually doing? He says, just like strength of fire within fuel wood, the Lord remains within the water of dissolution. It submerges all the living entities into their subtle bodies. He lays on the self-envirogated energy called Kara. So at the time of annihilation, the living entities who are not liberated out of this material world, their gross bodies, this what we can see made of earth, water, fire, the skin, the bones. Of course, this deteriorates or gets annihilated, but the subtle body, it lies with Garbhodakshayi Vishnu until the time of that partial annihilation is over. Then they come back again. This is partial annihilation. This is not full annihilation. When full annihilation happens, please forgive me, there's a knock at my door. Just give me 1 minute. No, sorry about that. I'm back. Yeah, so I was speaking about partial and ultimate annihilation. So during partial annihilation, the living entities who have been here and they are not liberated, they go back into the body of Garbhodakshayi Vishnu. When the annihilation is over, they come back again and continue the samsara, life, birth, death, and going through all the threefold miseries of being suffering under the it's called Adbhuta Krisha, being suffering brought about by other living entities, sufferings brought by natural disasters such as floods, by the demigods, and sufferings of their own mind and body. They go through all this. So the point here is to show the temporariness or the futility of this material world. There is no permanence here. If you want anything permanent, or if you want perfection in this material world, you will not find it. The only place where you can find it, you'll not find it in matter, you'll have to find it in spirit. And the reason why we hanker for happiness, because in this material world, everyone is hankering for happiness. Someone is looking to be complete or to be completed or to complete another. But the Tirtha Swami says that in this material world, everything that is done by anyone is for two purposes. It's either a cry or a seeking for love, or a seeking to receive love in exchange or to give love. These two purposes. Everything you do, you can just see, like if you are, I'll give an example, like a mother to the child. A mother loves the child, therefore they will cook for them. So that act of cooking is a desire to express her love. And the child can pull on the mother and nag the mother because they want the child to express their love to them. So everything that is done in this world is because we want to experience some exchange, some loving exchange. And in this material world, we will not receive that in its perfection, in its completion, because the nature of the material world is that it is temporary and it is full of distress. It's not meant for that. You can only receive this on the level of the spirit, because you are a spirit soul. Jiver Swarup Hoi, Krishnera Nitya Das. Your Swarup, your eternal constitutional position is that you are a servant of Krishna. You are his part and his parcel, and therefore you are spirit. So you can only receive this exchange, and the exchange will only lose its temporariness when you experience a spiritual experience. And that's why we come to the temple. We are taught to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because then you begin and you can feel some happiness and some completion and some exchange of love, because you begin associating with spirit. You have come to the level now, not on matter, but on the level of the spirit. And this is not temporary. It will not undergo partial annihilation. It will not undergo ultimate annihilation. The process of Krishna consciousness is called sadhana. Sadhana means practice. You practice when you have a goal. Like when you teach a child how to walk, okay, hold this side of the table, walk to the other end of the table. That is sadhana, practice. You are teaching the child how to walk. And what is the goal of that practice? That they will be able to learn how to walk. And they can walk on their own without assistance. Similarly, when we chant Hare Krishna, we hear about Krishna and his devotees. We associate together as devotees to read the Bhagavatam, and we do kirtan, and we do archanam, deity worship, all these processes of devotional service, the 9 processes of devotional service. It is sadhana aiming to a sadhya. Sadhana means the practice and sadhya means the goal. But the goal of the practice of Krishna consciousness is the same. The activities are the same as the activities that are done in practice. Only that in practice, like when walking, you train a child to walk, they walk. When they have learned how to walk, they walk. It's the same thing. So the process of Krishna consciousness, we train by chanting and associating together and hearing and doing kirtan. And when we have reached purity, the level of purity, then when we have reached the goal, we will be chanting in perfection, not in practice anymore. We will be associating in perfection. It is the sadhya and the sadhana are the same. So then there is no temporariness. In the material world, we can see what is being described here by Maitreya Muni, that the living entities, they get gross bodies when the material world is there. When it is annihilated, their gross bodies are removed and they are in their sat, and they come again, to change bodies, life after life. So there is temporariness. They are experiencing so many changes here and there. But when you come to the level of the spiritual level, not on the material level, then the temporariness of all this material world ceases. In the spiritual world or in spiritual matters, there is steadiness. Steadiness. And that's why it said devotional service begins properly at the stage of Nishtha, when you are fixed in Krishna consciousness. Then your Krishna consciousness, your practice really begins properly from steadiness. Because in spiritual matters, there is no steadiness. Before the level of Nishtha, there are other processes like weak faith, Shraddha, and then you are associating here and there with devotees, and then now you begin practicing Krishna consciousness, and then there is anartha nivritti. All this time you are not fully steady. Sometimes you do bhakti and then sometimes you engage into material activities, and sometimes you come in kirtan, you enjoy kirtan, and then you go back and you hear karmi music. And so that is not steadiness. I'm just giving few examples here and there. So bhakti will begin when you are fully fixed that it is Krishna consciousness. Like for example, if it's prasadam, I'm only having prasadam and I don't have any other item that has not been offered by Krishna. Then by that state you have started practicing steadiness. And then when steadiness itself really comes, then you'll begin your practice more seriously. And you will attain your sadhya, your goal, which is practice in perfection, not in not such a long time. If you are steady, then you will learn quickly. Your practice will go quickly. So therefore, we are talking on the temporariness of the material world and the difference between material activities and how they are temporary. They come to the end. Material situations are also temporary. Material bodies are also temporary, and the material universe itself is also temporary. Even if we gain to make ourselves live for some time, maybe thousands of years, still, if we are met here at the time of annihilation, you're going to be annihilated. There is no winning. So the scientists, even if they do get to discover how to make man immortal, then they will have to begin on another discovery of how to make annihilation come to an end. Because if they do manage to live all those millions of years that are going to be discussed by Maitreya Muni of the life of Brahma, because Brahma lives for 3.14 billion years, and then halfway his age, then there is partial annihilation, and at the end of his lifetime, then there is full annihilation. So half of 3.1.4 billion years, it's so many years. Scientists will think we have attained immortality. We have known how to be immortal. But then to meet, the material world is not also immortal. It will be annihilated at some point. So Krishna has covered all the loopholes. You cannot beat him. This is his system of how he wants the world to function. And we cannot conceive it, we cannot comprehend it, we can only accept it. And know that it is temporary, and because we are souls, we should not endeavor for the permanence of these material bodies and material situations. We should endeavor to attain our permanent swarup, which is to be servants of Krishna, and that will be done by the practice of Krishna consciousness. Therefore, this is what we should endeavor, and it easily starts by the process of chanting Hare Krishna and associating with devotees. Then very soon you come to the level of Nishta, and then your bhakti will really start when you're fully steady and fixed, with a determined goal of not wanting to come back here, back to the material world, undergoing annihilation and undergoing all these types of things. So I wanted to share a story of how this material world, there is really no perfection. There is nothing to look forward to here. There was once a king, and he had a very beautiful queen, and a very steady kingdom, and everything was going on well for him. And he had so much love for his queen, he decided to get a special necklace made for her with all the diamonds and all the nice jewelries, diamond, gold, a very exquisite, beautiful piece. That when it's hung on her neck, everyone will really know she's the queen, she's the empress. So as an expression of his love, he got it made for her. And on her birthday, surprise, gifted it to her. And he thought, oh, my queen will be very happy with me. But then the queen, as it was often done in those times, the kings had many wives, and the marriages were arranged. So she wasn't really in love with the queen, but she had her eyes. She followed everything properly, but she had her eyes on the general of the army, although she never expressed it. So when she received this gift from the king, she felt that, of course you want to give the best to your beloved. So she felt that it will be a very nice expression of her feelings and to her Parama, the general of the army. So after the party was over, she found the general and gifted him the gift that she had been given. But then the general also did not have the queen in mind, because that was beyond him. He knew that this is the king's wife, and therefore there is no opportunity. So he had his eyes on the wife of another soldier, a cadet in the army of the king. And the general gifted it to the wife of the cadet. And then the wife of the cadet gifted it to the husband, the cadet. And then the husband also did not have any genuine love for the wife. He had a prostitute that he used to go and see. And therefore, as an expression of his love, he gave the exquisite jewelry piece, necklace piece, to the prostitute. And the prostitute had always wanted to climb up the ranks in society and become a queen, and always had her eyes set on the king. So one time when the king was going out, the prostitute found a chance, and somehow she thought, if I give this very expensive piece to the king, then the king will have some eyes on me. So she gave it to the king. And the king was surprised. It was the only piece, exclusive piece. I don't know what they call them nowadays, the only car in the world, the only, iPhone, the only Samsung. That time it was such a thing. It's the only piece in the world. How did the prostitute get this piece? And so he called for a meeting, and the prostitute said she received it from the cadet. And the cadet said, received it from the wife. The wife said, received it from the general. The general said, received it from the queen. And the king could see it's a whole series of deception. Huh? We are living together and deceiving one another how we will love each other till death do us part. Others have done yagyas in mantras swaha 7 lifetimes together. But it's a whole different thing. It's whole deception. There is no perfection in this love. There is no permanence. So he gave up everything. And he decided, I'm going to the forest. I will become a sadhu. I will associate with devotees in the forest, sages, and chant Hare Krishna and try to attain what is permanent in this material, in this world, and that is Krishna consciousness. Everything else, having such a kingdom, having such a beautiful wife whom I loved up to death, even made the most exquisite jewelry piece for her, it's all temporary and it's all fake. So there is no need to look forward to any of these things. He renounced everything and went to the forest to try and become a sadhu and seek permanence in Krishna consciousness. So it is said there are three types of people, or there are three types of students. Student number one, the first class student, he will hear and he will understand. Oh, okay. So this material world is not permanent. There is no real love in this material world. Then student number two will hear, but he will not be very convinced. He has to see. I have to see someone who has suffered from the impermanence of this material world. And then student number three has to hear, still not believe, see, not believe, they have to experience it. So it is said, experience is the best teacher, but only fools, they don't tell you that part. Learn by no other means. So the best means of learning are by hearing. Okay, if you can't really be convinced by hearing, at least learn when you see. Don't wait to learn by experience. The Bhagavatam and our sages and Srila Prabhupada and the devotees are telling us all this. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can hear more and speak less. So if we do not make use of our ears and hear what we are being told and believe in this and try to cultivate Krishna consciousness, which is permanent, then we are going to be engrossed in this material world, which is temporary. And we are not even going to realize the temporariness of it. And we will keep roaming here, going through samsara, birth, death, old age, disease. And at the time of death or at the time of partial annihilation, we will lose our gross bodies, but our subtle bodies will still be attached to this temporary nature. And we will come back again and waste so much time here. So we don't need to experience all that. In fact, we don't need to see all that. We can pray that we can have conviction of Shastra when we hear it being spoken by devotees like Vidura and Maitreya. And as it has been presented to Srila Prabhupada, we can pray that we can have the conviction to hear and be convinced and seriously take up this practice so that we can attain the goal, which is steady Krishna consciousness and which is permanent. Therefore, dear devotees, this should be our prayers and it should be our goal. And I hope that we are going to endeavor towards this and pray for this. And I am going to end my monologue, my discourse here, and ask if there are any questions, comments, contributions from the devotees. Thank you very much. Grantra Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Thank you very much, Mataji, for this wonderful session today, where we learned about the partial annihilation. And partial annihilation means that you will still go back into Garbhodaksha Vishnu and get another form of body and come out, and it will be repeated saute sautita. But in the spiritual world, there is no annihilation. You just stay the way you are, as you will know your constitutional position, and you will stay there as a servant of the Lord. And then you also, and then you told us the story of the king and about the necklace. So thank you very much for that. I just missed one point about so partial annihilation we heard, but what about the full annihilation? At that time, what happens?
Thank you very much. It's the same. You see here, it's at the level of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Then at full annihilation, all the universes, they are pulled back into Mahavishnu. You see now this annihilation is they are coming to the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, who is in each universe. This is the annihilation of the universe. But at full annihilation, the entire material cosmic, it's all pulled into the body of Mahavishnu. And at that time also, the subtle body, those who are not liberated, they will stay there until the time of annihilation is the whole prarabdha is finished, and then again creation begins. So it will be longer. This time it's shorter because it happens at the half day of Brahma. And then after the end of Brahma's life, then there is full annihilation. So still, if you're not liberated at that time, you'll have to experience the entire annihilation episode and then come back into the whole samsara again. It's not that you're being saved. So you have to endeavor for liberation. And this is not the liberation of the impersonalists. That's also not permanent. You have to endeavor for complete liberation in the service of Mukunda, which is Krishna consciousness.
Thank you very much. And so even in the partial annihilation, you will have so many births. So you will be so many, probably millions and millions of births before you go into partial annihilation.
Yes. But the hope of the devotees is once you have come across in Krishna consciousness, there is no loss, there is no diminution. So once you have come into this path, then very quickly, depending on how you take up on the process, you'll be relieved of that. And devotees do so many things, such as eating Mahaprasadam, reciting most of the prayers. Our acharyas have given so many benedictions in the process of Krishna consciousness that one who does this, he'll be freed from the repetition of birth and death. Even as small as reading the Bhagavad Gita, it's not so much small of an act, it's quite an endeavor. Like today is Gita Jayanti and you are reciting the entire Gita. Yeah, it can be quite an endeavor, but even as small as reading one chapter or one verse of Bhagavad Gita, it will cut out that process. So once you have come to the process of Krishna consciousness, you have so many coupons to help you not have to come back into the whole samsara of so many lifetimes. So you should stick around.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Are there any other questions or comments from the group?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my all grace for Prabhupada. Thank you so much for that very deep and reflective class that you gave. And one thing I think I can take home from your today's class is you mentioned we are challenged in this particular lifetime to beat annihilation, and that the only thing that is permanent is to endeavor for the spirit, not for matter. So thank you very much. There's this, I've heard it many times, but maybe I would like your clarity on it. Yes, we say real service is chanting the holy names, and it's a point you touched on, that the goal and the activity is the same. We are doing chanting so that we can chant more. And I've always had this thought that maybe service could be something active for Krishna, like cooking, preaching, cleaning. Even when in Goloka Vrindavan, it would be like you're doing something for the Lord that is so actively. And I don't know, it would be a little bit not very favorable to stop that activity and say, let me go and chant. Maybe you're doing something for Krishna actively. You are cooking and you say, I have to do my rounds. For example, like our Namacharya, Haridas Thakur, was chanting 24 hours and doing nothing else. What did you say in such a moment? Would it be much better to chant to have the end goal of an active thing to do for Krishna, or the end goal is just to chant more?
Thank you very much for that question, Murari Prabhu. Yes, chanting the Namacharya Shri Hari Rasa Thakur, he will chant 22 hours a day, 3 lakh names, 192 rounds. But how many of us can really do that? And not many, we are not Namacharya Haridas Thakur. So for us, activities have to be there. And it's not that by saying that the goal is chanting, it does not eliminate all other activities for Krishna. In Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, when he defines Krishna consciousness, Anya Virashita Shunyam Jnana Karma Dhyanavritam Anukuyena Krishna Anushiranam Bhakti Uttama. In his definition of pure devotional service, he describes how one of the characteristics of devotional service is Anushirana. It is a cultivation, it's active. It's active. So for those who can't sit and chant, then in following the acharyas, Anushirana, they have to actively engage in activities. And these activities are of two types, pravritti and nivritti. Activities that are favorable, engaging in activities that are favorable to Krishna consciousness, and not engaging in activities that are unfavorable. That is nivritti. So action is involved. I understand your question that is it not more profound to have an end goal whereby you'll have a more active sense of activity. So like cooking for Krishna. If you look at the highest devotees of Krishna, the gopis are the highest devotees of Krishna. Mother Yashoda and the elder gopis and the other gopis, they all do activities. They cook for Krishna. They milk cows. They do all household duties. But as they are doing all those duties, it is said they are always chanting. Mother Yashoda will be chanting the bhata and singing the pastimes of, that is kirtanam. They will be chanting. They will be doing all these activities. It is said when the gopis, they do their daily activities, they always have this song in mind. Govinda Damo Ramadaveti Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. This is their song throughout the day. They are chanting, they are glorifying Krishna. So even when you engage in activities at the high level, like the gopis, if you are a gopi, but of course we are not a gopi, our goal is to be the servants of Krishna. So we understand even when you do practical activities, we do them with the end goal of remembering Krishna, and therefore those activities, they have to entail the chanting of Krishna's name. And that's why the practice is chanting and the end goal is chanting, because that will be the essence of the activity. Otherwise, cooking, even karmis cook. But with what mood do devotees cook, and with what mood do the karmis cook? So the chanting makes the difference. The remembrance of Krishna makes the difference. And Krishna is easily remembered by his holy name, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So that's why it's the end goal, because it will be involved in all the activities. It makes all the difference. I don't know if I have answered your question properly. We have many great devotees here. I think Pancharika Mataji was also here. She can help me to answer if I felt I'm not that highly elevated, but I tried my best.
Hare Krishna Mataji, you're way, way, way more qualified than I am. Thank you so much for your perfect answer. That was absolutely fine. It also it reminds me of actually Srila Prabhupada, and Mataji, correct me if I'm wrong. You may have heard this already. Srila Prabhupada was actually asked about this or related thing. And he mentioned exactly the same thing, that you have to chant as you're doing. There are two reasons for it. Because when we do our chanting, when we are doing our rounds, our minds, and I can only speak for myself, our minds just travel all over the world. So we do a lot of nam aparad. And whilst constantly chanting, those chantings actually, they balance the nam aparat which we do whilst we are sitting and chanting. That is one way of doing it with it. And Prabhupada said, like you mentioned, Mataji, all work is, service to Krishna, as long as they are done with the right attitude, favorable to Krishna, as you said, and not unfavorable, and that constant chanting, remembrance of Krishna at all times. He also mentioned that, finish your 16 rounds. So in terms of priorities, finish your 16 rounds, and because that is the minimum. That is the minimum, and then do the other work if possible. But do not neglect that daily 16 rounds in order to prioritize other duties. The other duties are equally important, but because our Yuga Dharma is Nam Sankirtan, so prioritize the Yuga Dharma, finish the minimum that you have to do, those 16 rounds, and then do the other service as well. But he, not to disregard the other service at all, but finish your rounds, and then and the very famous example of how he said, "Do you forget to eat?" I mean, if you or you cannot sleep, you cannot do anything unless and until you finish those 16 rounds. Because that's the minimum that you have to do to be able to just maintain just being in Krishna consciousness. We've just only started. We are in the very, very first step of Krishna consciousness, just by following the 4 regulative principles and doing that 16 rounds. It's a very, very first step. So not to fall down from that minimal, we prioritize those 16 rounds and then do all the other services, if that makes sense, Mataji.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Yes.
Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. In addition to that, chanting while doing our activities in the world of Krishna consciousness, the art, the BBT art, even in the world, it has a quite a stage in the world of painters, because the paintings that were done by the devotees, and especially the paintings of Jadurani Devidasi, Srila Prabhupada disciples, who painted them being directed at every step by Srila Prabhupada, they have quite an acclaimed position in the world of the Vaishnavas. And even materialists, when they look at those paintings, they appreciate that painting. And Prabhupada says that I taught her how to paint. How? As she's painting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Srila Prabhupada says that the BBT art reached that perfection or got that acclaim because the painters would paint as they had Prabhupada lectures and as they chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So this is an example of how our activities will reach perfection, even if they are just activities that are like any other. If we include the chanting of the holy name in them, and if we include that Shabda Brahma, the sound, the pure sound, then they are going to become spiritual and they are going to attain perfection. Yeah, about Haridas Thakur and staying all day chanting. In Mayapur, Prabhupada, when he came in the 70s, I think it was 72, he went with some devotees from Kenya, local devotees to Mayapur. And one devotee, he decided, I'm going to stay on the bank of the Ganga and I will only chant Hare Krishna. They were very busy building the Mayapur temple, but he did not want to do kazi ya mjengo. He only wanted to chant. So he said, I'm going to sit on the bank of the Ganges like Haridas Thakur and I'm going to chant 192 rounds. So devotees tried to tell him, no, you can't do this. But Prabhupada said, okay, if you want to do, don't worry. Just make sure you give him prasadam. Let him sit on the bank of the Ganges and chant. So he chanted, and after 1 month he was chanting. After 1 month, no one ever saw him. No one knows where he went. Until today, a devotee from Kenya, until today, no one knows what happened to him. So there is a difference between imitating and following. We cannot be Haridas Thakur. Don't imitate Haridas Thakur. But we can follow by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and having the conviction that we had in the holy name. So we do our activities and we chant, but we should not imitate Haridas Thakur that, okay, the goal is chanting anyway. Let me go to the Yamuna or to Radhakund and become a Babaji. It will not work. We are not on that platform. We will disappear. No one will know what happened to us, and we will lose the permanence that we are trying to attain. Okay, Murari Prabhu?
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you.
I think Gayatri Mataji has a question and then Panchalika Mataji. Go ahead, Gayatri Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Actually, I don't have a question, Mataji. Thank you so much for this wonderful class, Rasa Sundari Mataji. And you explained very well about what Murali Gopal Das now. So nice to see new names. So beautiful. Actually, what I heard, I wanted to just share, Mataji. When we go to Goloka Vrindavan, yes, there is no work because yes, Muralida Prabhuji was asking about if there is no work, it will be like, oh, all day we cannot sit and chant. So that's what I think. But I have heard in one Bhagavatam class that all the ladies who in the in Goloka Vrindavana, they are, even though there is no dust, with their beautiful bangles tingling, they are cleaning the walls of Goloka Vrindavana just to just to make Krishna happy. They're just cleaning, even though there is no dust there, but they're just cleaning, just to keep,
Mm.
themselves busy and active, as well as make Krishna happy. That tingling noises of these girls make Krishna happy. So that's what I heard, Mataji. I just wanted to share, and I'm nobody at all to talk in this group, but I'm just whatever I heard, I'm just sharing. Hare Krishna.
And
Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna. Thank you
Thank
so much. That's such a
you.
nice comment and addition. Thank you very much, Mataji. Yeah, Krishna writes the bangle noises of it enchants him. So even if there's nothing to do, there's no dust to make the noise, they take brooms and sweep and they'll wipe. Thank you very much for that addition, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I'll make it very, very quick. Thank you so much, Rasa Mataji. I completely agree with what Gayatri Mataji said. So beautifully explained by you about Haridas Thakur. And Gayatri Mataji, thank you so much for that wonderful contribution. I'll make it very quick. It's just in continuation with what both the Matajis said. There's this pastime, you might know this already, about Narad Muni going to Narayan, because Narad Muni always used to chant Narayan's name. He always says Narayan, Narayan, Narayan. That's constant with Narad Muni. So he chants the Lord's name. So he goes to Lord Narayan and he asks that who's the best devotee. You might have heard this. I mean, I don't know. You might have. And then
You
Lord Narayan, he shows a farmer and says he's the best devotee. And Narad, when he was a bit shocked, he said, I chant your name all the time, and how can you say that the farmer's the best devotee? And so Lord Narayan says, okay, no, but you have to prove that you're my best devotee. And so he gives a lamp to Narad Muni, and the lamp is full of oil. And he says, because Narad Muni is the spaceman, isn't he? He can go everywhere. So he says, you go all around the universe. You go all around the universe, you do what you're doing, preach about me, talk about me, and then come back to me, do one round of your whole travel around the world, but make sure that you do not spill even half a drop of that oil. Okay, and then you come back to me. So Narad Muni came back, after a whole round of the universe, he came back to Narayan, Lord Narayan, and he said, I've done it, Lord, I've done it. And look, that's not even, and the Lord said, did you drop any, was there any drop from the lamp? And Narad Muni says, no, I took special care that not a single drop fell from the lamp. And Lord Narayan said, and whilst you did that, whilst you're traveling, how many times did you chant my name? And Narad Muni said, oh gosh, I think not many times, because my entire attention was on checking that no oil dropped from this lamp. And so then the Lord showed the farmer. He didn't have time to sit down for 2 hours. He didn't have the luxury to sit down for 2 hours to do chanting. So his entire day, from morning until late night, he would be, hard working, because he had to earn the living for his family. But throughout his work, not a single moment went when he wasn't chanting the Lord's name under his breath. So he was chanting. So, that's another example of, how you may not have the time to sit down and chant. Yes, we have been given the instructions by our guru to do the minimum, but there are so many pure devotees who chant all the time. And that is what the Lord sees, as Mataji was saying earlier. It's the remembrance of the Lord, and when there is the remembrance of the Lord, the chanting comes on the tongue automatically. One doesn't have to consciously do it; it comes automatically. And that was what the farmer was doing, constantly charging. So he was doing his work perfectly fine, but at the same time, his japa was continuing. So there's two sides to it, I suppose. Thank you very much. Sorry, I just took a lot of time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so one who remembers the devotee, the Lord, the Supreme Lord, all the time, he is the greatest devotee. Yeah, I think we'll hand over to Kirti Sundari Mataji
Thank you
now.
very much. It was a brilliant discussion. I think that really enriches our knowledge when we discuss. So thank you all for asking such wonderful questions. And then thank you, Mataji and Panchalikar Mataji and Gayatri Mataji for all your response. It made it much sweeter. I really liked the uh, bangles. We should all wear glass bangles now. Thank you so much. I think is Bhakta Stewart in a position to end the session? You have not spoken at all today. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much for the wonderful lesson. It was so nectarian and a lot of insights from all the devotees who shared their part. It was so nice. Thank you so much for the wonderful session today. I would like to invite each and every devotee to unmute and chant one round of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in the glorification of Her Grace Rasa Sundari Mataji for the wonderful lessons.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
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 Krishna,
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 Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama,
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha,
Vanchakapataruvyascha,
Kripa
Kripa
Sindhubhya
Sindhubhya Eva
eva
Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Anantakoti
Srimad Bhagavatam.
Santrat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
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 Srila
Thank you,
Prabhupada
Anantakoti
Mataji.
ki
Thank
jai.
Vaishnava Vrinda ki
Jai.
jai. Srila
you.
Her Grace
Prabhupada ki
Rasa
jai.
Sundari
Her
Jai.
Grace
Mataji.
Rasa Sundari Mataji ki jai.
Jai.
Srila
Jai.
Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada
Jai.
ki jai, the
All
Glorious
glory to the
Yatra ki
assembled
jai.
devotees.
Hare
Hare
Jai.
Krishna.
Hare
Thank you so much.
Krishna. Thank
Haribol.
you.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.